What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Scary Squads. It is the last episode in our mini-series this month. I hope you guys have enjoyed it here on the channel. In the last video, we attacked a new competition, the Champions League, so we're going to be seeing how we got on in the video here today. And in the video today, we will be attacking a new competition. I hope you guys are enjoying the content here on the channel. If you are, please show me by leaving a like. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into Scary Squads for today. So before we get into the video here today, we need to recap the last episode, and here is the results of the squad that we built together. And you can see pretty decent for the three players that we picked, and I'd say quite successful in the fact that we did actually get 2 free tricks in the last video, and 2 of our trick players actually performed fantastically, and I kind of called that result, I guess, as good as I could have. Well, obviously shown by picking up the players and them doing well, so I'm happy with them too. Buchanan, of course, he is another card that we are going to be giving away here in the video today, and yeah, just didn't really do that well, and kind of was expected against Man City. Of course, we had to pick an unfavourable matchup, so I'm not too disappointed in him. And Yilmaz, I am a little bit disappointed in. I did watch the match against Bodeglimt, and Galatasaray probably should have scored more than 3 goals, and yeah, Yilmaz just didn't look involved at all with any of the attacks or anything, so that was a poor choice. However, Trippier, of course, the best performing defender actually on Newcastle, we gave him the armband and he done really well. Overall, we only got 500 XP, so obviously not insane, but we only have to give away 1 card, so it's not the end of the world. Yilmaz almost had to give him away, but luckily he had a big chance created just before he got subbed off. And the winner of Buchanan this week is Mr. Sick Demig. He was the quickest on my device, so we will be giving him the card later on in the video here today. But before we build our squad today, we do need to run over the rules very quickly, just for those of you guys that might be clicking on this video for the first time in episode 4. Very quickly then, we need to select a scary squad in this video here today, using a trick or treat wheel which will decide if we have a favourable or unfavourable match in the position. So we'll go through each position and then decide if they have a good game or not. And then last but not least, any player that gets a scary score here in this series, we will be giving away, and how you can enter that giveaway will be in the pinned comment down below on this video, guys. And a scary score is of course 35 points or lower. So I will be revealing our new competition for this week shortly, but before we do that, we need to decide if our players have favourable or unfavourable matchups, and we are starting off with the goalkeeper position here, and oh my god, we have got another trick for the goalkeeper, and I actually think this is the hardest or the worst position to get a trick in, because it's so hard to find a goalkeeper that is good with an unfavourable matchup. So moving on to the defender, it's kind of the same as well. We really need a treat in this position. Oh my god. That is back-to-back videos where our goalkeeper and defender both are tricks, which is very unfortunate. Will we get a midfielder with a trick as well? That'll be... oh my god. Okay, thank god. We have a treat finally in the midfield position. Forward, I think nearly always we've got a treat in the forward position. Will it be a forward again in the final episode? Yes, it will. There we go. So we've got 2 tricks, 2 treats, and our last extra position here today. What's it going to be? Hopefully another treat. No! Okay, it's going to be another trick. So we've got 3 tricks, 2 treats. Are you guys looking for a fun new football management game to play? I know I definitely was, and that is why I have partnered up with Footium to create a new adventure. Later on into the video, I'll be displaying my journey into Footium. If you would like to join me, use my link in the description down below to sign up. Thank you to Footium for sponsoring this video. More about Footium a little bit later on. However, we do have a new competition to attack here on Sorare, and this is the first time I am ever entering into the Ligue 1 competition, and I know a few people definitely, when I live stream, are excited for me to try Ligue 1, and this is officially going to be my first ever entry or attempt into the competition. So before we get on to selecting our squad, of course we have to do our mandatory scouting in the division, and I've had a little well, this is sort of our preliminary look, I guess, at the competition and at the games that are going to be going on in sort of the midweek of Ligue 1. And I will say this is well, the only real football that's playing this midweek. So, yeah, I am trying to look at the teams here, and obviously any team that plays against PSG is going to be a bit rough. So, probably going to try my best to avoid that one. I know that Marseille are also a very good team in this division, but I'm liking the looks of, say, maybe Strasbourg, who have a decent home fixture. However, they're not. Obviously, they are favourites in this game. So, yeah, of course, we have got a lot of players to choose from unfavourable teams. And I will say, briefly looking, Le Havre and Stade Brest, I think that's just Brest to us, but their game is very similarly matched. So I'm just gonna, again, as I've done previously, I think I've done it in episode 1. I am just gonna say that these are both unfavourable games because it's a 50-50 essentially. Obviously Laurent quite unfavourable, so yeah, maybe if we can sneak a PSG rotated player, might be good for our treat. Of course, we can have one classic player, so maybe we might be able to get a classic PSG player. Of course, we'll have to have a little look into that. Then we've got Lens against Metz. I'm not really too convinced. I mean, we might be able to pick up a Mets player here, but I don't think it's going to be quite likely. Then we have a very interesting one. We have Nice against Lille. This definitely could be a fixture where we perhaps choose a few Lille players because they are on the unfavourable side, and we do have we have an extra and a defender and a goalkeeper to get. So maybe we get an extra from Lille because of course they are a good team, just a tough game. And then we've got Auxerre against Strasbourg. Again, Strasbourg quite a decent team, so not too sure if I'll be buying any Auxerre players, that's for sure. Then we've got Toulouse against Stade Rennais, and I quite like Stade Rennais actually, so might be a bit of an outsider shout. That is, of course, through like previous years in Ligue 1. I've yet to really watch that many Ligue 1 games this year. However, previously I've enjoyed watching this team, so I might just go, them for reminiscing factors, I guess. And then we've got Marseille with an extremely favourable game. So again, if we can get a classic piece, maybe might be a good one to get from Marseille with a favourable fixture. Then we've got Lyon against Paris, and this is quite surprising to me actually. From the outside looking in, I'm surprised Paris have this much odds, a 38% chance to win this game. I'm assuming Lyon aren't doing too well this season. But yeah, definitely can look at some Paris players, that's for sure. And then last but not least, we have Nantes against Monaco. And again, it's an unfavourable match, but at least Nantes are at home. So there's definitely a couple of decent matches in here to pick through. And yeah, that is going to be our job in the video here today. So let's move on to the goalkeeper, shall we? So for the goalkeeper position here today, of course we have an unfavourable matchup, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme on this video, or these videos should I say, that we get an unfavourable matchup for our goalkeepers. And I was having a little look through, and I've created a short list. You can see at the top here we have Donovan, Leon, Obed, not even going to try and pronounce that second name, and Lopez. And to be honest, I was looking through their fixtures, and Auxerre away to Strasbourg, I was kind of like, I kind of wanted a home team, to be honest. So I was looking at Lyon for a little bit, but then I just thought it'd probably be better for us to go ahead and pick up a home team, just because I feel like they're more likely to do well at home. I don't know if maybe that's just a English thing, I don't know, but yeah, I just feel like home advantage is quite important. Maybe not so much in Ligue 1, of course we're going to find out. And that pretty much left us with Paris against Lyon, who I'm quite surprised. I must admit, I don't know much about Paris FC, but in my head I thought Paris were not the best of sides, but you can see on Sorare Inside that the sides actually look pretty fairly even. And then we had Nantes versus Monaco. To me, to be honest, both of the games are obviously considerably unfavourable, but Nantes are at home and so are Paris. So I decided I do want one of these keepers, and what better way to decide our keeper today then the fact that Paris were actually playing against Nantes on the weekend, and I said to myself before that game kicked off, I'm just going to buy the goalkeeper on the winning side. And you can see they played against each other, and Nantes did win 2-1 because. And the reason I said this is because Paris were heavy favourites in this game, and I don't know, like I said, I don't watch Ligue 1. I'm surprised that they are favourites in that game. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give Nantes a chance. And yeah, Nantes actually went ahead and won. So congratulations to them. They won 2-1. And I did go ahead and pick up Anthony Lopez in my goalkeeper slot. And yeah, now we've got a defender to pick out. We are starting off our Footium journey here in the video today. And you can see I've decided to go ahead and pick up the starter bundle. I highly recommend those of you guys that do use my link in the description down below to sign up. Make sure you open up a starting bundle like this because you get a lot of things, as you can see in this package here. You obviously get the club, which is very important, but you also get 17 players to start off with. So this pack is sort of literally the foundations of our entire club here, and of course we are starting here today. Let's see what we can get. We have opened up our starter pack and we have got given our team, and now it's time to see the players that we did get with our pack. And yeah, here is the tactics screen just so you guys can see, and I'm looking at it for the first time, and oh, okay, we've got some okay, so we've got a highly rated centre back, which is our best position, and then other than that, no, well, two centre backs actually. So defensively, hopefully, we'll be pretty good. And then we've got a centre forward, left wing. Okay, all right. So we've got some decent little players in that starting pack. I am gonna form some sort of tactic and then come back to you guys. I've had a little play around with the squad, but there is no doubt that this will change in the future. I've settled on the 4-2-3-1. However, our fullbacks are not exactly ideal for this formation. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think the best formation is on Footium? We will of course be exploring more into Footium in future videos. However, lastly, I did want to have a look at some of the other features on the website, including the training session tab here, which I'm definitely going to need for my fullbacks in the future. They also have quite a nice little tab here showing off key features on the website on the left. It's quite easy to operate and click through. I'm sure you guys that will be new to the website will also find the ease in the menus, to be honest. And last but not least, I do want to go into our academy because our academy is now open, and this is a really fun aspect of Footium that I absolutely love, and I'm hoping that we can reveal our players on video here today. Oh, here we go. So we've got how many players is this? About 6 or 7 players for the academy, and hopefully we can get some good ones on the video here today. Let's see who we get for the academy. Okay, we've got a DM who's 27, or a centre back who's 25. Age 18 as well. There we go. Buzzing with that one. Next up. Ooh, oh my god, very versatile player, 17 as well. I don't know what the youngest age is that you can get in the academy, so let me know, guys, in the comments if you do play Footium, if we have done well here or not. I think, to be fair, 27 is actually looking like our best one so far. So the first one that we got, although he is a little bit older than some of the other guys, this guy being 16 obviously is quite decent as well, and he's a fullback. We do need a fullback, so maybe we can develop him into being a first team player. Wow, we get another great player here. 30 rated is pretty good, our best so far. And then we have a 31 rated guy, 18 as well. Damn. And then last but not least, you guys might not be able to see this because of my camera, but okay, he didn't look the best, to be fair. But there is our academy reveal done. Let me know in the comments if you guys are starting today, who did you guys get in your reveal? Once again, a massive thank you to Footium for sponsoring the video here today. If you guys want to support the channel, then I would really appreciate if you sign up using my link in the description down below. Let's carry on building that scary squad. Moving on to the defenders then, of course we have the Nantes goalkeeper, so it only makes sense to pick up a defender from Nantes as well. And you can see I've went across all of the back line to try and pick out the best scorer. This is in the last game, of course Lacroix was actually the best scorer with a DA, but generally speaking, when it comes to AA, it looks like the centre half is the best for it. So I went ahead and decided to look at all of their past games and scores, and you can see here this player unfortunately is only 17 and doesn't have a card on So Rare, so we couldn't go for him. Then I had a little look at Lacroix, and without decisives, his scores were pretty scary, to be honest. But yeah, I was sort of umming and ahhing about this one because he could, of course, get a decisive. But then I realised he is a midfield guard. So that left us with just two cards to pick from in the Nant's defence, and that was, of course, the centre half that I just said looks like scores decent. You can see here it looks like if they keep a clean sheet, he's going to get 70 or so. So not too bad. And then we had the other fullback who just did not look that appealing at all. So what we went ahead and did, quite simply, is just get the centre back, and that completes our defence. Finally, we get a favourable matchup, and it is in the midfield slot. And I will say, this one was a bit hard to pick out a midfielder, and I will explain why in this segment. And yeah, looking at the lineups then, I had a little look into Nice, and to be honest, you can see for yourselves a lot of 60 and 70% going on. So I stayed clear of that match, even though it is at home. But I do think Lille are a very good team. Strasbourg, again, similar, quite a lot of uncertainties. Of course, Doué is a defender card. Diego looked interesting, but not someone I put on my short list. And yeah, then we had Le Havre, not very favourable match for either team, so I avoided that. Then we had our first shout at Lyon, and I did have a little look into Tolisso. You can see here some fantastic scores, and in general, I think he's a pretty good player. I've seen him play before, so I was I'm in an RM whether to pick him up, and you can see here he's 90% to play. However, I will say again, away from home, I don't know how favourable this matchup is. I might, I may be underrating Paris a little bit too much. So yeah, I was like, he's an option. He's definitely an option. I put him on the short list. Then we had a little look into PSG, and here comes our second player on the short list, and it is Seni Mayulu. However, I just 60% is always so tricky on Sorare or Sorare inside, and I just don't know if I can put myself in that situation. So I was like, okay, I think for this reason, Tolisso is probably a slightly better pick just because he's 90% on to play. So Seni was definitely an option. However, we didn't go for it. And yeah, then we had a little look at Marseille, and again you can see just 70s across the board, and I don't really want to take that risk. Then we had a look at Monaco, and of course our goalkeeper and defender are from Nantes, so it doesn't make any sense. So really, it left us with Lens, and I picked out Mamadou Sangari. He has gone on the shortlist, and the reason I like him is not only is it a super favourable match against Metz, but he is 90% to play. And of course, we have seen what this guy can do in the Austrian Bundesliga. For those of you guys that have been following the channel for a while, you'll know about the under-23 Road to Glory and this man. And yeah, obviously yet to really get his scores going in Ligue 1, but I don't know why. I have a sneaky feeling that Lens could do well. And of course, once again, before picking up these players, I did really want to see how they got on over the weekend. And you can see they actually managed to beat Marseille, which surprised me. So it gave me a lot of faith in Lens. It gave me a lot of faith in Sangari. And he is going to be our midfield pick for today. So for the attacker position, I won't lie, there was absolutely loads of cards that I did want to add into this team. Of course, another favourable matchup for us. I have managed to whittle down all of our players down to a nice little short list for you guys to see. And we'll kick things off then with Jeremy Boga, who was the first on the list. And you can see here an extremely reasonable price for a winger who has a favourable matchup, and to be honest, when he plays, he actually scores really well. You can see a lot of these scores are sort of ruined by substitute appearances. So when you first look at it, you'll look at it like, oh, he's got a lot of low scores in there. But if you look, they're actually substitute appearances. When he's actually playing, he's getting decisives, he's getting good AA, and in general, I do like wingers to be my forward cards. However, you will also see a lot of rotation for him, and obviously the substitute appearances are because he has been rotated. So he did play last game and he did get an assist, and that kind of put me off buying him because although he is 80% to start, I just don't know if I trust the manager to not rotate him. So although he is very cheap and a good option, I just didn't trust myself to ruin this team with a guy that might not start. Then we had a little look at Soufiane Diop, who is on the other side of Boga, of course, the same sort of matchup for him, and you can see, generally speaking, a very good scorer. But again, someone that might get rotated, so it did put me off buying him. So really, it left me with two options in my shortlist, and that was the first name here, as you can see, Odsonne Edouard, who used to play for Crystal Palace, and you can see he's actually very in form right now with 3 goals in his last 3 games, and that is exactly what you want in your attackers. I heavily believe when I build Sorare lineups that for the attack role or the attack position, their form is the most important to me. So when I'm generally speaking, when I'm building a Sorare lineup, I like to do goalkeeper and defense like the same team, and obviously ideally a favourable matchup. Midfield, I don't mind about the matchup. I just want him to get good AA. The forward is really important for form for me, and then the extra is just whatever makes sense. So with that in mind, I definitely thought Edouard could be a good option, as well as of course the fact that we've already gambled on Lens having a good game with Sangari being in midfield, so it kind of made sense. But our last option was the Toulouse man, the winger as well. I can't say his name, but Gaboho. Again, a fantastic scorer, and the matchup was decent. As you can see, Toulouse at home with about 50% chance of winning. However, I did say earlier in this game, earlier in this video, I did really like the idea of getting a Stade Rennais player. So the Toulouse man didn't really make sense either, which left us with one option, and that is Mr. Edouard. I'll be honest, he was probably one of the more expensive cards that I could have picked from, and he is probably due a blank, so I will probably live to regret picking Edson Edouard, because is he going to score 4 games in a row? Probably not, but nonetheless, I pick him anyway. And look, if he gets a scary score, then at least one of you guys can win him and maybe use him or sell him for a bit of money. Last but not least, the extra position, and I have been saying all video, I do really want a Stade Rennais player, and of course it's an unfavourable matchup, so it just makes sense. However, unfortunately, at time of recording, Rennais or Stade Rennais do not have an expert who has predicted their lineup, so I'm going to have to be the expert here and go based on previous lineups, and there is one figure that is reoccurring in all of these lineups as I scroll through, and that man is Quinton Merlin. You can see he has literally played all of the last 5 games, and I already think he's a pretty good scorer on Sorare, and he is the man that he's pretty much the only guy that I really did want to get. I did have a little look at Embolo, but I just thought Merlin makes the most sense. He gets some good AA scores in there as well, and he does complete our lineup here today. And yeah, I'm locking in Sangari with the armband and hoping that Lens have a good game. All in all, I'm pretty happy and confident with the squad. The only guy that I'm, is making me a bit nervous is the attacker. But like I said, if he doesn't play or if he doesn't score, at least one of you guys will get a chance to win him. And speaking of winning him, I did forget to show you guys me giving away Tejon Buchanan to the winner in the last video. Congratulations, Mihai or Sikdemig, for winning that one. And of course, because this is the last episode of the mini-series here, should there be a scary score in this squad that we have built today, of course I will be giving it away to one of you guys, and I'll probably tweet it just as proof so you guys know that I've given it away. So that rounds off our mini-series here in October. I hope you guys really did enjoy the concept, something a little bit different on Sorare. I haven't seen many people do stuff like this. I know some people didn't really enjoy the giveaway aspect of this series, but like I said, I like to do things different. I don't want to just be boring and generate the same sort of stuff. I like to keep you guys on your toes, thinking about new ways or new things and new concepts and new content ideas. With that being said, if you guys have any cool ideas that you'd love me to do or explore, any new videos that you want to see on the channel, then please do let me know. Of course, we've got a great month, November, coming up, and of course my birthday is in that month, so I do love November. Let me know what you guys think about concepts concepts, ideas. If you guys liked this series, if you didn't like it, let me know, because then I know whether to do more like this in the future or not. Of course, you can show me by leaving a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you guys in a future video. Peace.